In a small, peaceful African village nestled between hills and forests, there lived a woman named Amina, a single mother of three children. She was known for her strength, kindness, and boundless love for her family. Amina's husband, Kwame, had passed away when her youngest child, Tunde, was just a baby, leaving her to raise her children alone. Despite the hardships, Amina always managed to keep a smile on her face, providing warmth and hope to her children. Her house, though simple, was filled with laughter and love. Amina's children, Zara, Kofi, and Tunde, grew up under her loving care. Zara, the eldest, was a brave and independent young woman, while Kofi, the middle child, was intelligent and kind-hearted. Tunde, the youngest, had a joyful spirit that filled their home with laughter. The village had always been a peaceful place, surrounded by fertile land and the steady flow of a river that provided water for both the people and the animals. The villagers worked together, farming, weaving, and making pottery, living in harmony with nature. Amina had always been proud of her children, watching them grow into young adults, each developing their own unique talents and dreams. But one fateful year, the peace of the village was shattered. It began as a dry spell, but soon the once thriving river that ran through the village began to dry up. First, the water level dropped slowly, and then the riverbed cracked open, exposing the parched earth beneath. The crops, which relied on the river for irrigation, withered and died. The animals began to grow weak, unable to drink from the river. The once vibrant village turned desolate. Amina tried everything she could. She walked miles to the nearest well, only to find it nearly empty. She gathered rainwater in clay pots and did her best to ration the little food they had left. But with each passing day, the situation grew more dire. The villagers began to worry. They spoke of famine, of disease, and of the threat of losing their homes. One evening, as Amina lay in bed, exhausted from the day's work, she overheard a conversation between the village elders. They were gathered in the center of the village, their faces grim. "There is a way," one elder said, his voice heavy with worry. "The river goddess can restore the river, but the price is high." "What price?" another elder asked. "The life of someone pure and selfless," the first elder replied. "Someone willing to give everything for the greater good." Amina's heart skipped a beat. She had heard the legends of the river goddess, passed down through generations. The goddess was said to have the power to restore the river, but only if someone pure in heart sacrificed their life. Amina thought of her children, of Zara, Kofi, and Tunde, and knew deep in her heart that there was no choice. If it meant saving them, she would make the ultimate sacrifice. The next morning, Amina called her children to her side. Zara, Kofi, and Tunde gathered around her, sensing something was wrong. Amina's face was filled with sorrow, but she smiled weakly. "Mother, what is it?" Zara asked, worried. "I have to go," Amina replied softly, her voice filled with emotion. "There is something I must do to save all of us." "Where are you going?" Kofi asked, his voice trembling with fear. Amina looked into their eyes, her heart aching with love. She placed a hand on Zara's shoulder, then on Kofi's, and finally on Tunde's. "The river goddess can restore the river, but she requires a sacrifice, and I am the one who must make it." "Mother, no, please don't go," Tunde cried, his little hands reaching out to her. But Amina gently wiped his tears away. "I have lived my life for you, my children. You are my everything. If my sacrifice means you can live, I will do it without hesitation." Zara, Kofi, and Tunde stood silent, their hearts breaking as they realized the truth of their mother's words. Zara, the eldest, tried to speak, but no words came out. Kofi held back his tears, trying to be strong, and Tunde, only a child, clung to his mother, not fully understanding, but sensing that something terrible was about to happen. Promise me you will live, Amina said, her voice trembling. Promise me you will carry on and never forget that I did this for you. The villagers gathered near the river's edge, their faces somber. They knew what was about to happen. Amina walked towards the sacred grove where the river goddess was said to reside, her steps slow but determined. The air was thick with tension as she approached the ancient tree that guarded the river goddess temple. The ground beneath her feet seemed to hum with energy, and the sky above was painted with an eerie orangey glow, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Amina knelt before the tree, her hands clasped in prayer. I give myself willingly, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I offer my life for my children, for this village, for the land. As she spoke, a strange wind began to stir, and the air grew thick with the scent of rain. A bright light appeared in the distance, and from within the temple, the river goddess emerged. Her figure was tall and radiant, her skin shimmering like the surface of the river under the sun. Her eyes glowed with ancient wisdom, and her presence seemed to command both fear and awe. You have come, the goddess said, her voice rich with power. You are willing to give up everything for your children? Amina nodded, tears filling her eyes. Yes, I am. My children's lives are more important than mine. The goddess looked at Amina for a long moment, as if searching her soul. You are a mother who loves with all her heart. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten. The river will return and life will flourish once more. The goddess raised her hand and the earth began to tremble. Amina felt a strange warmth spread through her body, as if her very essence was being drawn out. She closed her eyes, her heart filled with love for her children and the land. In that moment, she felt at peace, knowing that she had given everything for the future of those she loved. The river goddess waved her hand, and the waters of the river began to flow once again. The dry riverbed was replaced by rushing water, and the crops that had withered began to bloom. The village was saved, and the people celebrated. They sang songs of gratitude and joy, but among the celebrations, there was a deep sorrow that filled the hearts of Amina's children and the villagers who had known her. Zara, Kofi, and Tunde stood together, their hearts heavy with grief. They had lost their mother, but they knew that she had sacrificed everything to save them. Her love, her selflessness, and her courage would live on in their hearts forever. Years passed and the village flourished. The story of Amina's sacrifice became a legend passed down through generations. Every year, on the anniversary of her sacrifice, the villagers would gather by the river and remember the mother who had given everything for her children. And as Zara, now a mother herself, stood by the river with her own children, she whispered a prayer to her mother's spirit. Thank you, Mama, for everything. The river flowed on, a symbol of Amina's eternal love and sacrifice.